Good morning, students, and happy Monday. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. So, here at the start of our week, we're going to be learning how to multiply integers. So, multiply numbers that are negative and positive. And it's quite easy actually because unlike addition and subtraction, you simply multiply and then just change the sign to negative if needed, based on these rules up top. So after you complete your review exercises and speed drills, I want you to read these directions up here and keep these two rules in mind. So the first rule is that the product of two integers with the same sign is positive. So if you are doing a multiplication problem and the numbers have both a negative symbol or they're both positive, so they don't have a negative symbol, they're positive. So if you have negative 4 times negative 3, the answer is 12. If you have 4 times 3 without the negative symbol, it's also 12. So very simple. Then, if the product of two integers with different signs is negative, then the answer is negative. So the product of two integers with different signs. So if one is positive and one is negative, you just multiply as normal, but you have a negative sign. So the great thing about this is all you have to do is multiply. And I think for your first exercise, what you should do is go ahead and multiply all of them just as you would regular. So just focus on the number only. Don't even worry about the signs yet. Then afterwards decide, were both of the numbers negative or were they both positive? If they were the same, the answer is always going to be positive. And if you have a problem where only one is negative, then the answer is going to be negative. So here for our first sample, we have negative 2 times negative 6. So here we see that we have the same sign for both. And remember, when we have the same sign for both, that automatically means positive. So we're just going to multiply 2 times 6. 2 times 6 is 12. And because the signs are the same, it's just 12. Now for the second sample, we have 5 times 3. In this case, we have a negative 5. So only one is negative. That means each integer has a different sign. One's negative, one's positive. So that means our answer has to be negative. So we're going to multiply as normal. 5 times 3 is 15, but this time it's going to be negative 15 because one of our signs was negative. So just keep in mind, if they're both negative, like this one, or both positive, the answer is going to be positive. If one is different, like here, one is positive and one is negative, it's negative. So just one simple rule to look out for. Both the same, positive. One different, negative. So here for our language arts assignment for Monday, we are learning how to use colons and hyphens. So these are symbols that we're going to be using in writing and often symbols that we see when reading. And notice here that just like with the commas, we have rules. So here we have colon rule number 1, 2, 3, and then we have a hyphen rule. And remember, it's always important to take note of these rules because we get quizzed on them later and they're very important for our exercises. So let's learn about where we see colons and how they're used. So here it says use a colon between the hour and the minute when you write the time. So that is probably the most often that we see them, in between numbers when we're telling time. Then it says use a colon after the salutation of a business letter. So if you're writing a business letter to, let's say, a company, then you would write a colon after the name, or in this case, after the word sir. Then you use them between the chapter and verse when you write scripture. We see this very commonly too, like John 3:16. And then we have a hyphen. So the hyphen is that little tiny line that we see often to divide a word. So we're going to see some examples on how to use hyphens. So it says, if you do not know how to divide a particular word into syllables, the dictionary will help you. So let's take note. It says, do not divide one syllable words. So for example, if you're breaking up words into syllables, make sure that if the word only has one syllable, that you're not dividing it in any way, especially not using a hyphen, no need. So if the word is fright, for example, then it would just be fright. There's no need to divide it with a hyphen. But just take note that that little line there, that is a hyphen. Then here for number 2, do not place a single letter of a word at the beginning or end of a line. So, for example, for the word apart, you do not put a dash part, or for the word perky, perk dash y. I'm saying dash, but really I should be saying hyphen. So, a hyphen part or perk hyphen y. Then here for number 3, do not place hyphen ed or any other 2-letter ending at the beginning of a line. So not sure hyphen ly or greet hyphen ed, greeted. Avoid dividing any word at the end of a line if you possibly can. So these are just some notes here that we're going to be reviewing later, but we're not going to need them just yet. So here we have a little bit of creative thinking, or a little bit of some work that maybe not everybody will have the same answers for, and that's okay. So here for write, it says to write the reference of your favorite Bible verse. So you're going to write the name of your favorite Bible verse, and obviously you will be needing to use a colon, just like here. So make sure that you divide your numbers from your chapter and verse using a colon. And then it says look at the clock and write the time, so that you can also apply the colon. Here for number 3, it says draw slashes to show where you could separate these words at the end of a line. The first one is done for you. So pretty much saying it prefers that when you're dividing your syllables, you're dividing them using these slashes and not the hyphens that look like this. So just divide these words into their syllables, just like this one, which is already done for you. Then here at the bottom, it says to write these Bible references: Proverbs 3:5-6, Matthew 5:1-11. So we have one here, and then we have the second one here. So just write the actual numbers, dividing them with the colon. Then here it says, on notebook paper, write a paragraph which includes a time reference, a Bible reference, and one word which must be divided at the end of a line. So it doesn't have to be a long paragraph, but just a few sentences where you're applying all of these concepts that we've learned. So make sure that you're applying a colon in there, a hyphen in there, and that you're dividing a word in there. So a word that is more than one syllable. So here for spelling for Monday, we are starting on lesson 30. So lesson 30 is not just one list, it is a review of lists 25 through 29. So we're going back to the lists that we've already learned the past couple of weeks, and we're going to be going over them. So here on the first page, I want you to carefully notice that your exercise is only for chapter 25 pattern words. So although you have all of the words from the previous chapters up here, for this exercise on the bottom, you're only focusing on chapter 25. And what you're doing is you're using colored pencils. Of course, you can use a colored pen or markers or crayons, and it just wants you to follow these little exercises just for the first list. So here for number 1, it says to circle the words that drop the silent E when the suffix is added. So in green, notice the words that drop the silent E. So if you want a hint on that, then just go back to list 25 because we did a very similar exercise. Then you're going to circle the words that don't drop the E in blue, in a blue pen, colored pencil, whatever you have, and then write the pattern words that do not drop the silent E. So notice how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So that gives you a hint that there are going to be 5 words that do not drop the silent E.